Carly Fiorina is surging today. According to a new poll, Donald Trump is still leading, but the former HP executive has now jumped to second place. Ben Carson is in third with 14%.
Senator Marco Rubio has made a big jump, shooting to fourth place with 11%. With the new numbers, Trump did not hesitate to take aim at Fiorina this morning.
Why do you think she's surging now?
Because she's got a good line of pitter-patter, and it's if you listen to her speaking, it's the same line that I will speak to my friend Bibi Netanyahu, etc., etc. She says the same thing over and over and over, but a lot of the people didn't hear it in the debate, so they heard it for the first time. It's almost like robotic. Frankly, you look at it and it's robotic, but I think people will understand her soon. But when they look at her record of tremendous failure. Look, she took Lucent into the ground. She took HP into the ground, destroyed it. And, I think that, and then she ran for the Senate in a race that should have been won and lost because of the fact that she did so badly as a business leader. The head of the Yale School of Business, one of the heads, wrote a report that was one of the most vicious I've ever seen. I mean, it was true, but it was a very strong report. So I think, when people see her record, I don't see how she can possibly win.
John Allen joins us now. He's the chief political correspondent at Vox. John, thanks for joining us. Let me ask you a question. What do you think? Can Trump take down Fiorina the way he's done with other candidates? He has a tendency to get a little personal, and he may not be able to get away with the same sort of activity as he has before.
It's a much bigger challenge for him to go after Carly Fiorina. We've seen that already. He made some remarks about her. And then she came back with an ad against him, and then we saw in the debate she went back at him and basically said he had talked about her looks in a Rolling Stone magazine article. She came back and basically said, look, American women heard what you said, and they didn't like it. And I think it's a much bigger challenge. I think when he's pretty good at going after guys, he's at challenging their masculinity, calls Jeb Bush low energy, and I think that works to some degree. I think it's a lot harder for him to go after Carly Fiorina, in part because she's standing up to him in a way that other candidates are not.
But John, people are now going through Carly Fiorina's business record with a fine-tooth comb. How much of a vulnerability will that be for her?
It's a huge vulnerability for her. Not only does the professor that Donald Trump cite say that she did terribly at Hewlett-Packard. We saw layoffs, 30,000 people. This is something she's going to have to answer for better than she has, particularly in a Republican primary. And if she were to get through a Republican primary, big layoffs aren't something that's going to be helpful to her in swing states, particularly industrial swing states that Republicans need to win.
What about Donald Trump? I mean, he's been at the top of the polls, but it's sort of consistently in the same range. Do you think he's plateaued?
Yeah, I think there's a ceiling for the Donald that we've seen so far, which is about roughly 30% of the voters out there in the Republican primary. But if there are a lot of candidates out there in the race, that could certainly be enough for him to not just win delegates, potentially even win the Republican nomination. So I think the question is going to be what happens when other candidates start going out of the race, and do they go to Donald Trump or do they go to one of the other candidates, maybe Ben Carson, maybe Carly Fiorina, maybe Marco Rubio, who, as you pointed out, has surged into fourth place.
Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker has really seen a terrible slide, remarkably low slide, a quick slide rather, polling at less than 1%. What does this mean now for his campaign moving forward?
He's either going to have the most incredible comeback in political history or he's going to fade away. And I think it's much more likely that we'll see the latter. The Republican voters have seen more of Scott Walker in these debates, and they don't like what they're seeing. He said that he's pretty much putting all of his eggs in the Iowa basket. That's his only strategy right now, but I don't see how you come back from under 1%.
All right. John Allen, thank you so much for your insight.
Take care.